Hello and welcome to the Lee Schools TV podcast. I'm Adam Wright. Joining us today is Tammy Scott. Tammy, thanks for coming on the podcast.
Thank you for having me.
I know you have been eagerly excited to do this for a long time now, so thanks for coming on.
I appreciate the opportunity.
So Tammy, you are the MTSS coordinator, and I did some sleuthing, and I discovered that stands for the Multi-Tiered Systems of Support.
That's absolutely correct, yes.
So we will talk about that in a little bit more detail a little later on, but we're having you on today because we're talking about something very important, and that is student attendance. And we especially wanted to have you on around this time of year because student absences tend to spike around the holiday season, correct?
Yes, unfortunately they do. They spike around the holiday season. Things come up and families want to take vacations or kind of get a little laxed in attending school regularly. So it's really critical that our students are in school, especially during this time period. There's so much learning taking place. So we want to make sure that our parents are aware of that.
Yeah, so if you are a parent out there with students in the district and you're maybe considering maybe pulling them out of school a day or two early before the holiday break, or maybe taking an extended vacation and coming back, after when the students are supposed to return after the break. This is really important for you to listen to because, Tammy, you've got a lot of good information about how it affects student achievement in the classroom, right?
Absolutely.
Even just missing one day of school can have an impact, right?
Yes. So if our students are missing 2 days a month, by the end of the school year, they could, in essence, miss a whole month of school. And 2 days a month of missing school does not seem like a lot. And that can be hard to track if it's the first week of the month and then the last week of the month. But that really adds up and causes a negative impact on the students' learning.
So Thanksgiving is right around the corner, and it's a little bit different this year because this is the first year, right, that students get the entire week of Thanksgiving off. Normally, they'd have to go to school up until the Wednesday right before Thanksgiving, right?
Right.
What kind of impact do you see that having?
I think it's going to have a tremendous positive impact for our teachers in the classroom and as well as our students. This way, families, if they want to travel, they can start traveling that Saturday before Thanksgiving and then come back on that Sunday and be ready to go for our students on Monday. There won't be any need to rush to the airport or anything like that. Hopefully, they'll get better airline tickets and all of those things to consider. But I'm born and raised here in Lee County, and I've never had a week off at Thanksgiving, so this is actually kind of exciting to have this opportunity for our families. I just hope that we gain that learning time back before Thanksgiving and then after Thanksgiving for the holidays.
Yeah, was that the main mindset behind giving students the whole week off? Is because we saw so many students missing school like that Tuesday, Wednesday before Thanksgiving?
I can't speak for the calendar committee, but I can speak to lots of conversations that I've been engaged with in regards to hoping that makes a positive impact on our students. Yeah.
So I have some numbers. So, hopefully that makes a difference. And, but then there's still winter break. And I know students are off. The last day of school before winter break is December 20th, and then they return January 8th. And our Assistant Director of Communications, Rob Spicker, pulled some data for me, and our average daily absence rate for students is about 7% daily. So in 2018, 2019, on any given day, there was about 6,600 students absent. We have 93 or so thousand students across the district. So that's about 7% on any given day students are not in school. And so compare that to December 20th of 2018, right before the end of winter break. That number went from about 6,600 to about 8,600. And then just one day later, December 21st, I believe, was the last day they were in school right before winter break. It spiked all the way to over 13,000 students were absent last year, the last day of winter break. Yeah. So obviously, I'm sure a lot of people, think, how much are they really doing in the classroom the last day of school? I think it's maybe early dismissal to that day. But can you speak to why it's so important for students to be in the classroom all the way up until that last day before break?
Absolutely. It is so critical that our students have the opportunity to continue to build relationships with one another and with the teachers as well. It's just as important the 3 days prior to Christmas break as it is the first 20 days of school. So we know that we're setting patterns in place in the very beginning of the year, and students are forming friendships and all of those great things. But the relationship building also has an opportunity when things are around the holidays, when things look a little different maybe in the classroom, where there are some projects going on or just other opportunities outside of this traditional type of learning to engage with one another in a positive way. So a lot of schools are PBIS schools. That means they embrace a positive intervention behavioral program. And oftentimes you'll see schools give incentive program or parties and things of that nature right before the holidays. And you don't want kids to miss out on those fun activities. That's what those memories are made out of. I remember certain things that happened when I was in elementary school, and it typically is around the holidays and your different engagement in the classroom.
So do you have any numbers or data on maybe some direct impacts that maybe missing a few days here and there can have on student grades or test scores or anything like that?
Yes. One of the things that is extremely important for our parents to understand that when students are starting, even in pre-K and kindergarten, if students are missing more than 10% of school per year, that would be 18 days of school missing, that they in essence have set up that pattern for the rest of their schooling. So if they continue that pattern up through third grade, their risk of being retained in third grade is huge. If you think about all of the times that a student is out, when they return back to class, they're struggling trying to catch up constantly. So if they're working on catching up and they are already struggling to begin with, that compounds everything. In addition, it does make for a very stressful time for our teachers because they are so compelled to want to make sure that every individual student is learning to their potential. So if a teacher is having to do a lot of extra stuff for students that are missing school all the time, then our other students are not getting as much attention as they should, and it creates that gap, a very wide gap in the classroom. So that is a challenge in and of itself. I'm not sure if you know, Adam, but by 6th grade, students who are chronically absent, that is a number one indicator of dropping out of high school. 6th grade. And we don't think about that because they're just in 6th grade and what an impact that has, but that is a direct correlation.
And again, chronically absent is
Yep.
missing 2 days per month, is that right?
It is missing 2 days per month.
Which doesn't sound like a lot, but like you said, it adds up.
doesn't. No, it doesn't. And the other thing, too, is chronically absent is defined by any absences, even excused absences, because what we are always searching for are learning opportunities. So even if a student may be sick, they're out and they're not learning in that lesson the way that the teacher has designed that lesson. So they miss out on an awful lot. So it counts excused and unexcused.
So what are you doing, the district's plan to kind of combat this? How are you trying to improve this situation?
That's a great question. There are so many things that are going on in Lee County that I'm proud to be able to witness on a daily basis. We have spent 2 years working with schools. Every school now has a goal just specifically for attendance in their school improvement plan. So that's for 2 years that we've done that. And so they analyze their data, they take a look at what those barriers are for their students, and then work through those. Another really positive thing is that we are embracing that multi-tiered system of support lens in regards to problem solving around those barriers. So in the past, our social workers have had the heavy lift in regards to communicating with families in regards to attendance. But we are training more and more staff members to take a role in that. So we have our social workers that are able to partner with our schools and our problem-solving teams. We have administrators that are being trained, our intervention support specialists, and really dissecting down what we can do to support that. So we have a lot of resources that we can connect families with. Our social workers do an amazing job with that. We have a homeless liaison that really looks specifically on providing the interventions for those students. So the best part about the chronic absenteeism piece is that it is something that is actionable. It is something that we can fix much easier than people may realize. So, for example, some students, they may not come to school because of transportation barriers. We have an amazing transportation department, and when we have students that are chronically absent, we can reach out to them and work through those challenges and make sure that they have a safe bus stop, they have everything that they need to ensure that they get there. Another barrier is health. Like your physical health, and asthma, diabetes, those kinds of things. So our nurses are working with our families to ensure that they are connected with community agencies if they need that, and connecting them and breaking those barriers down. That's all that it's about. One part is that can be challenging is everybody is unique. So your barrier could be very different from my barrier, and so the solution to that is unique in and of itself. So it takes time, it really does, but by broadening our team and putting the lens on our chronic absenteeism and the importance of that, that's really going to get us to where we need to be. We need our students in school so we can teach them and they can learn.
I'm glad you were talking about the resources that the district has, like social workers, because correct me if I'm wrong, but those are fairly new resources, if I'm correct. I feel like we've added. I think I've heard that we've added a lot of social workers to our campuses, because even just maybe 5 years ago, we didn't have that many, correct?
You are absolutely correct. And the reason why we were able to do that was through our mental health allocation. So we have a social worker full-time in every high school. Unfortunately, they're not full-time at the middle and elementary level, but social workers provide a wide range of assistance and support to our students, and one definitely is in the area of mental health. So we have been able to increase the capacity for that. We want to view our social workers as not, oftentimes parents are scared if a social worker calls them, and I get that. I do understand that piece, but it's only to connect the family with things that they may need. It's not, we take the lens of everybody wants what's best for their kid. And I know that's what I want for my own child. I want them to have more than what I've been able to have. So sometimes we need help with that, and that's okay. And our social workers are trained in those conversations with families. So I would encourage any family that a social worker reached out to them to engage in those conversations and to be upfront and honest and let them know what they need help with.
Are there certain ages or grade levels of students that you tend to see higher levels of absenteeism compared to other ages and grade levels?
There is. Right now and traditionally, kindergarten is one of our biggest challenges. There are many reasons to that. Oftentimes, it's the first opportunity that students are in a structured environment. Sometimes families are just really unaware of the importance of attendance, so we're really trying to get the message out to our families. But kindergarten is the biggest challenge. And then, unfortunately, our seniors would be the next grade level.
So opposite ends of the spectrum.
It is opposite ends, yes.
I think my common sense kind of tells me why it would be those two grade levels. Is it hard for some parents to, especially with the younger students, to let them go?
Yes, it is.
I'm sure there's many other reasons, and
There are
everybody's
many,
unique
yes.
too, like you said.
Yeah, and students, it does take a long time for a 5-year-old to feel comfortable in a new environment and to be okay with mom or dad leaving them. But we have more and more of our students with mental health challenges as well, so that compounds the issue in regards to attendance. But it speaks volumes to our teachers who are providing those engaging lessons and really motivating and encouraging our kids to come to school. So
I'm sure probably very different strategies when you're dealing with kindergarten absenteeism and seniors in high school absenteeism. Probably
Yes.
very different reasons why
it
they're
is
missing, right?
very, very different. Students that have a driver's license, we are able to restrict that driving opportunity if they're over the age of 16. So that is one encouraging piece that we would want them to be in school. The other thing that we really try to not do is have hearings or things of that nature to connect them with other agencies that are more accountability measures. What we really embrace is that intervention model and connecting our families to break down those barriers. Ultimately, we know that every child that graduates with a diploma in our community is worth $500,000.
Wow.
Every child. So if we step back and we think about the importance of each individual student graduating, we know that they are going to contribute to our society in a more positive way. They're going to obviously pay taxes. They have healthier lives. They have better relationships with people. And so there's the positive impact they have is really critical.
Yeah, that was going to be my next question. Was
Okay.
just, parents or students out there who are maybe having problems with
Yeah.
absenteeism. This all ties back to graduation.
It does.
And, people have heard this many times throughout their lives, but if you just want to, if you have all these years out here listening, just the importance of graduating high school and what it can do for somebody.
Yes. So somebody that walks out of high school decides to drop out, and then a student that continues and earns their standard diploma, right off the bat, that student can earn at least $10,000 or more per year before they ever even enter post-secondary school, technical school or college. $10,000 more than dropping out. Wow. That's a lot of money. For our families who are struggling, we have a high poverty rate in our county. $10,000 is a lot of money. That buying power alone, you can go and buy a washing machine if you need to. You can purchase your groceries and not have to worry. Those simple things that maybe some people take for granted would be afforded to those individuals with that standard diploma. Living longer is really important, right? And healthier and having those better relationships. And that's what happens. Research has shown us, statistics has shown us that those students who earn that diploma, they have richer and fuller lives, for sure.
And I'm sure, just guessing incarceration rates for non-high school graduates are much higher than high school graduates.
They are. And that third grade level is the key indicator.
Really?
Unfortunately, yes. By sixth grade, chronic absenteeism, dropping out, third grade reading proficiency. If you are not able to read by third grade, higher chance of a possible incarceration. Yes.
And you were telling me, right before we got started that there's positive news. Obviously, this is an issue that all schools are facing district-wide, but you said that we're moving in the right direction. So I asked you, if do you have any idea of how Lee County compares to maybe other districts in the state or what direction we're going in?
Absolutely. Our district, because we've asked schools to put an attendance goal in their school improvement plan, we as a district level have a goal of having no more than 15% of our population chronically absent. Last year, we ended the year at 19.33%, so much higher. We were over the state average. But I am happy to say that as of Friday, our percentage was at 17%. And that speaks volumes to the work that our schools are doing, the work that our problem-solving teams are doing. They're engaging our students and providing other opportunities for them to come to school and earn enriching activities. I think about AVID programs and think about the schools that do the men's club or the ladies club and those kinds of things. Those are the activities that engage our kids and motivate them to want to come. The mentoring, all of those positive relationship building pieces. At the end of the day, if students don't feel safe in school, they won't come. If they don't feel nurtured or loved, they're not going to come. And our goal in Envision 2030 is for every student to feel as if they have one caring adult in the school that they can go to. And by focusing on that attendance piece of it, that directly impacts that goal. So we're breaking those barriers down, we're re-engaging our students back in school, and then being able to provide that education for them.
I know we recently, started offering free breakfast and lunch to all students too. Does that have an impact on attendance?
It absolutely does. And I love the different things, thinking outside the box in regards to the breakfast on the cart and all of those things, like at Lehigh Senior High School. Yeah. All of those things contribute to our student success and encouraging them to come. I will say that attendance is not solely a parental problem or parental concern. It is our whole community's concern. When we have our different departments around our district looking at things outside a typical lens, like you mentioned, the breakfast and the lunch, that's what gets us to where we need to be for our students. We can't do this by ourselves, so we need to engage our community and various projects, but we're getting there, definitely.
Yeah, community is definitely key, but I would be remiss if I didn't mention that November is Family Engagement Month. Yes. Any tips for families, parents out there on just anything they can do at home that can help improve attendance for their students?
Absolutely.
Aside from taking them out of school early for vacation?
Yes, do not take them out of school early. There's plenty of vacation time if you think about it. A week at Thanksgiving and then 2 weeks at Christmas. I'll be honest with you that 2 weeks at Christmas, although I like it in the very beginning, after the first of the year, I am ready to come back. I always was as a classroom teacher. I was ready to see my kids again. So we know that when they come back after those long breaks, we need a reset time, but they're all super excited and ready to be with their friends. For parents, I think it's really important to continue to encourage them, to work with them when they're struggling in school. If students are struggling academically, then that becomes a barrier. So if parents are more aware of where their child is struggling, by all means, reach out to the teachers, reach out to the school, try to figure out what can help them, but encouraging them to come to school. We even say at our ESOL Parent Institutes, we even say moms and dads, send them anyway, even if they say they have a tummy ache, because chances are by the time they get off the bus and they have breakfast and they see their friends, everything is fine. And then if they're really bad, the nurse will call them.
Yeah. Okay. Is there anything else that you wanted to mention or talk about?
No, I think we've actually covered everything.
Yeah. So, okay. So going back to your title, MTSS Coordinator, Multi-Tiered Systems of Support. Well, I went on the website and found your page.
So good.
And I'm just going to read this quote that you have right at the top.
Okay.
By Dr. Eric J. Smith, the former Florida Commissioner of Education. So this is right at the top of your page on our website. Quote, "It is the responsibility of every educator, organization, and parent to actively engage in collaborative efforts to meet Florida's goals. In the unified effort, all schools in Florida should ensure evidence-based practices, instructionally relevant assessments, systematic problem solving to meet all students' needs, data-based decision-making, effective professional development, supportive leadership, and meaningful family involvement. These are the foundation principles of a response to instruction and intervention system which provides us the framework to elevate the efficacy of our statewide improvement efforts." So,
that's a mouthful.
How does that tie into what you do? That's a lot of good information. So kind of the almost kind of like a mission statement for what you do. But MTSS, multi-tiered systems of support. What does that mean? And aside from making sure kids are in school every day, what else do you work on?
What else do we work on? So I have the pleasure of working with intervention support specialists at every school. And when we have them for training, we talk about the different interventions that are best practices to connect our students with. But most importantly, we talk a lot about our data and what our data looks like and making sure that our systems are all in alignment. So if we have way too many students that are not meeting proficiency, then we know that we have to go back to what we call our universal supports, our supports for all students, and make sure that we have a real solid foundation. And that is something that in the area of academics, our curriculum department, our teaching and learning department, works endlessly on, is making sure that our teachers have the right materials in front of them. They can make those decisions. We also work with our PLCs within schools, which is another
Tier?
another letters PLC,
Yeah.
and that's when teachers gather together. So maybe all algebra teachers gather together and they look at the data and figure out, okay, what was working and what's not, and then what can I tweak to work or do something over again with another student. Lots of students learn in different modes, so we can't always be providing instruction in the same way for everybody, so we're always trying to mix things up a little bit, but just making sure that we have connected all of the interventions and the learning opportunities for each student. That really is what MTSS is in a nutshell, but it does take a team. It's not something that a teacher alone can do, not because they are not able to, but because when three heads are together, lots of great ideas come out of that. And we also don't want teachers to get burned out. If they have 25 students in their classroom and they feel as if they need to do 25 different things, that's not what that's about at all. We're really making sure that we group our lessons and our instruction accordingly to meet the needs of the students.
I know you're doing a lot of great work.
Thank you.
So you said you grew up in Lee County?
I did.
Yeah.
Yes.
Did you go to school in the district?
I did. I went to Calusa Elementary.
Okay.
And I had the privilege in 5th grade of being the head of the post office.
Wow.
So I was, yes, it was a big
What
to-do
were
as
your
a fifth
duties
grader.
as the head of the post office?
Just ensuring that all of the people were getting the letters and everything out
cool.
to the students. Yes.
It's a very important job.
It was, yes. And then I did go to Calusa Middle, and then North High,
Okay.
and we were not a choice district at the time. I moved houses and had to move to a different school, so I ended up going to Mariner High School and graduating there, fighting Tritons.
And so how long have you been with the district?
I have been with the district for 23 years.
Wow. So
Yeah.
you started when you were 10?
I did, yes.
Yeah, cool. That's really.
Yep,
what
since
is-
96.
I'm sure you haven't been the MTSS coordinator the whole time.
No.
You've been through in a few different roles with the district?
I have, yes. I taught 1st grade for 9 years and then 5th grade. And then about 12 years ago, there was an opportunity to start this RTI. They called it Response to Intervention, which is now called MTSS. And I did that at the school level at Skyline Elementary and then Orange River Elementary. Lots of great learning happened then. And then I had an amazing privilege of being an assistant principal at Sunshine Elementary. And then I joined the team down here at the district office about 4 years ago.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Well, we're lucky to have you.
Well, thank you.
All right, Tammy, what's your favorite book?
My favorite book is I Love You, the Purplest. It is a book it's a children's story that I would read to my 1st or 5th graders around Mother's Day. And it's just very heartfelt. Yep. I Love You, the Purplest.
Give us an idea of what's it
So
about.
mom has 2 boys, and if you have siblings, you know that when you're young, you're always competing for your mom's attention or your love, and knowing do you love me more than you love my brother, kind of a thing. And so mom is able to share with each individual child why she loves them the most, like the bluest, and the reddest.
Gotcha.
And so really making
clever.
them feel, yes, special. Yeah.
Okay. What's your favorite movie or TV show?
I am a junkie for crime shows.
Okay.
So I love NCIS.
Remember, this is a family podcast.
Or Blue Bloods. Blue
Okay.
Bloods is we love that one.
Aren't there like 9 different NCISs these
There
days?
are.
Okay.
I don't keep up with all of them. I don't have that much time, but
You stick with the
main
the
ones.
OG? Okay.
Yes.
Okay. Do you have a favorite song or a favorite musical artist?
Kenny Chesney is probably my favorite musical artist.
Okay. Hey, a lot of people talk about country, and I just don't have a lot to offer because I'm not a big country fan. Sorry.
You should come to our side, Adam.
He always wears a cowboy hat, right?
Yes.
Okay.
And he has his toes in the sand.
Gotcha. He wears a cowboy hat. That was a real shot in the dark there. Okay. What was your favorite subject in school growing up?
My favorite subject was language arts. Yes. I'm not sure why, though.
I always liked it.
I think I just liked the writing and the
Reading and writing
organization.
and,
Yes, absolutely.
What about grammar?
That was okay.
Yeah, okay. Okay, Tammy, if you could have dinner with anyone living or dead, who would it be and why?
That's a great question.
I know.
And quite honestly, I have an awful lot of questions. So really, the person is Jesus. I have so many questions.
Yeah. You're not the first
I
person to say that.
don't understand an awful lot
Yeah.
sometimes. So, yes.
Why
So
not?
wait till I get there.
Okay. Tammy Scott, MTSS, Multi-Tiered System of Support Coordinator for the School District of Lee County. Thank you so much for coming on the podcast. We appreciate it.
Thank you, Adam.
All right. And thank you for watching and listening. We'll see you next time.